Hey all, welcome to Fitty and Homemaking. My name is Sarah, and today I'm excited because we're doing an unboxing, and there is going to need to be some assembly later on. But I'm excited to share this with you guys because, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started because based on the shape of this box and the shape of the final form that I know that it's supposed to be, this might take a little while to put it together. So we are in some previous videos, I'll be cleaning out my kitchen or the refrigerator within the kitchen, and sometimes we have some leftovers that I need to throw away because, you know, they've gone bad. They're just not good anymore. And I always feel bad throwing those away, and some people in the comments have suggested composting, to which I've replied, I would love to compost. I don't know much about it, but it's something I've been meaning to look up for years and to do, and it's just not my number one priority. So knowing that, after getting that comment a couple times, I went ahead and I put a composter on my Amazon list. And how I use my Amazon list is things that I want to buy in the future, but it's just like not the right time right now, or things that I want to buy that I know I'm never going to buy for myself, but maybe someone else will. So a composter oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that. A composter fell into that category. And my birthday is coming up next week. And my sister bought the composter off my Amazon list because I am a horrible person to buy gifts for. Oh, they gave me some gloves. I'm a horrible person to buy gifts for. So that's also why I maintain an Amazon wish list, because people ask me, oh, what do you want? And maybe I'll have wanted a composter for a year, but in the moment that they ask me, my mind just blanks and I can think of nothing. So my sister bought me a composter for my birthday. So I'm super happy to share this with you, as I expected. So it's one of the barrel kinds that sit on a stand. So yeah. It's looking like there's quite a few parts here. So let's go ahead and take all the parts out. I'm going to keep this knife by me just in case something doesn't want to come out of the packaging. And then I'll obviously move the box out of the way so I have some room to work. So all of these bits are going to be the stand. Maybe we'll have some bubble wrap fun later on. And I'm doing this in the garage because I couldn't remember how big it was, and I didn't want to put it together in the house and not be able to get through the door, because that seems like something that I would normally do. So trying to avoid that. But I also don't want to do it outside because it's been raining a lot lately. So our driveway's kind of wet. If I drop something, I want to be able to make sure I can find it pretty easily. And I don't know if it is going to be raining or not. I do not know anyone from Missouri, so I'm assuming that's spam. Come on. All right. So yeah, normally I'm a person who likes to research things first, and I mean, occasionally I'll do research. I know there are certain things that you are not supposed to put into residential composting that you can put into industrial composting. And when I was little, I actually went on a field trip to an industrial composting plant. Oh my gosh, am I going to have to do all these panels together? Okay. Really need to get busy then. But I went to an industrial compost plant as, you know, a field trip, because I was in school, and in school you are supposed to learn how things work, right? Also went to a sewage treatment plant, also went to farms, that sort of thing. I will say that industrial compost plant, worst smell I've ever smelled in my life. And that's like worse than like dead, rotting animals. It was like a very sickeningly sweet smell. And I think it was like the sweetness to it that kind of got me. All right. All right, so that is an end. I think this flat piece that I took out first maybe that's a middle divider because it looks like there's 2 doors on this part here. All right. Carefully move this to make sure I don't flash you my address. But, oh, there's the picture. That's what it's going to look like. Hopefully. All right, y'all, we just have too much stuff in this garage. I'm going to put all the plastics together into this one bag. Sorry if it's loud on the mic there. I have a fan going over here. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's actually facing you guys instead of me, so let me go switch where that is. I was just thinking that fan isn't helping that much. Well, it doesn't help that much unless it's pointed at you. Okay, let's see. Can probably put this up. And I did look for a box cutter before getting started, and I just didn't find one, so I figured a knife was good enough. All right. My gosh, this has like a bajillion little, what are these? Bolts and nuts. All right. Hey, Max. You want to be involved? Okay, parts list. Great. Yeah, there are 56 of the short bolts with the nuts or the washers. The nuts, it looks like. All right, assembly instructions. Oh, there are some words, but it's mostly pictures. I don't know how much you can see that. I'll take a picture of this and post it. All right, it looks like we're doing the barrel first. So we get these guys first. And the guy with the doors on it first. So this is A, this is C, and it's wanting me to get F. F is one of the short ones. Also, might need a magnifying glass to read these instructions. The pictures are so tiny. Like this whole page is like the size of my hand, and it has 10 reference pictures on it. Okay, and it looks like they've taken the doors off of this. Yes. All right, do these need to be lined up in any way? It looks like all the holes are the same all the way around. So I guess that's great. All right, let's get the non-similar bits out and in this bigger baggie. Just have 2 of the long ones, 2 of those, the rest of these. Oh. All right, I'm gonna dump a few of these out here. Might regret that, but we'll see. Gave me an extra one of those caps. That's nice. Y'all, I'm too old for pictures this small. All right. I will speed up the thinking parts for you. My goodness. You're going to see blank look while reading on my face a lot. Okay. So we just start screwing things in. The picture is not close enough for me to actually tell entirely which of the holes in here I'm screwing it in. Oh, well, it's got the little bend in it. So I guess that would be why. Like, You're a moron if you can't figure this out by looking at it. I'm not saying that you guys are. I'm referring to that as me. Might go better if I also do it with my dominant hand. Get in there. This side goes up. Just making sure I'm going to be screwing this nut on right. Ooh, there's a pretty dragonfly out there. Guess I'm just going to hand tighten it. I mean, I guess they did give me a screwdriver. I'll do it loosely though first. All right. And it doesn't show a picture of putting in the rest of the screws for like the other side, but I'm going to go ahead and do that because that seems like the right thing to do. I think I'm just going to put them loosely on here and then go back through with the... There we go. All right. Guess it doesn't matter if these match up at all, but I'm a little bit anal, so we'll match up the insides there. When I told my sister that, well, she saw that Amazon had delivered this to me, and I told my sister that I had gotten the package, and I looked at the shape and I was like, that's not very barreled shape. And my sister said, in the reviews, they said something about there being lots of bolts. And I looked at it and I was like, I feel like that's going to be an accurate assessment. And yes, accurate assessment. But so far, all the holes have been drilled. Well, for the four bolts I have put in here, the holes have been in the right place. All right, doesn't matter which one I do next. B3 says install divider after the 4th panel is added. So I guess I will do 3 more panels and then put the divider in, which is this flat guy over here. All right. You stand up like that, bud? Not really. Here. So that's going to attach there. Oh, thank goodness. They have little little pokey things. Some of the holes are not screw holes. They're to kind of put it in place so it's not so flippin' hard to match up when you're putting these other panels on. If any of you regularly do composting, please go down in the comments below and give me advice on how to do this. I think I'm going to put this out by where my trash bins and my recycle bins are. Just because when we're, throwing stuff out, that seems like a reasonable place, to also throw out compost. The only kind of composting experience I have is like my parents composted when we were growing up. We lived in we composted when we lived in northern Illinois. We were there for 10 years. And we had an acre lot. So one back corner of the lot, and our lot was kind of wooded. It was a mix of like lawn and wooded areas. And then the entire neighborhood was surrounded by cornfields. So it was like they had left the trees there for the neighborhood. And that was it. But yeah, so the back corner, one of the back corners of our property that was a little bit more wooded, is where they put their food scraps. And like we also had a dog that was an outside dog that stayed up closer to the house. He had his dog house under our back porch and all this sort of thing. And my sister and I had to scoop the poop because we didn't want to be walking through poop close to the house. And like that's also close to where his house was kind of close to where our wood pile was as well, because we had a wood burning fireplace, because that's pretty typical when you live in northern Illinois to have a wood burning fireplace in a house that was built in the late 80s. But yeah, so we'd like scoop the dog's poop and put it back in the compost pile too, or put my dad would put the lawn trimmings back there from the riding mower bags, and just normal composty stuff. But I don't remember actually putting like food compost in there. I don't know if we just didn't have a lot of that kind of waste, or if my mom just handled it, or what. I remember putting a lot of yard waste in there. But occasionally, like, they would go back and give it a good heave-ho with the shovel. It's going in. There it is. So I got one of these. I think you can, I'm assuming based on the stand that you can just turn it to get the stuff mixed together a little bit better. Ooh, that nut is hard to hold. I feel like that's not on there correctly. Is that better? Yes. A little bit. No, it is not on there at all. Let's turn this so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. What is it, bud? Do you hear something? You're okay, bud. Oh, did Chato get out? Our next door neighbor's dog name is Chato. And Max is out here with me. And he is like on alert. So I don't know if Chato has gotten out or not. It's just not wanting to go on very well. All right, I'm gonna call that good enough. All right. Next panel. And since I'm not saying anything terribly interesting, I'll probably just speed all of this up, and maybe I'll put some music over it. Well, these middle ones are a bee to line up because there's extra plastic right next to it, so it's hard to hold the nut on there the right angle. There we go. Keep an eye on the time because I am working today. This is just on my lunch break. And I actually have to stop working early today, so I have even less work time because my husband has some extra thing after work that he has to do today. I'd probably volunteered to do, but after volunteering, you have to do it. So I have to go pick up my kids at daycare. My husband normally picks them up at 4. If it's like a normal day during the week, usually I would pick them up closer to 5. But it's a Friday. And usually when he picks them up on a Friday, if they have a good report, they go to an ice cream shop that's close. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the last one. They go to an ice cream shop that's close to the daycare. Very good business placement on their part. And, get some ice cream. So I'll probably be picking them up closer to 4 today so we can go grab an ice cream and have that settle for a little bit before we have supper. Amazing parenting, I know, ice cream right before supper, but they're 2 and 4. They deserve all the little special things as a good reward. I'd rather reward them for good behavior than have to punish them for bad behavior. So they know kind of in the back of their mind that as long as everything goes well, they get ice cream on Fridays. And they are really good kids. They absolutely try their best, but we've kind of had a tough couple of weeks for reasons that I won't go into on here, but it's been a tough couple of weeks and they have been pretty resilient. So unless something heinous happened today at daycare, they're going to be getting some ice cream. Am I just not putting this on right? Where is it? Oh, feels like there's actually something in the way there. Let's see. Oh, am I feeling the wrong thing? I was feeling the wrong thing. There's a little nubbin right about a half an inch away from the screw hole. And I was trying to put the nut on the nubbin instead of the, these aren't screws, they're bolts. The bolt hole, I guess. Because I know if someone sees these little things, well, actually, everyone's been fairly nice, but occasionally you'll get someone and be like, that's not a screw, that's a bolt. Oh, one thing I was going to ask you guys. Oh, I forgot to put this one in. Look at that. Can I reach that one still? All right, again, trying to put it on the nubbin. There's the screw. If you have tips, so I have tried composting very briefly before by just tossing it in a hole in the yard. But I found I couldn't stand storing the food inside enough. So I think this time I had like a canister with a lid on it with some holes in the lid, but then there was like a charcoal filter. And it was like this cute thing. But we don't really have room for anything on our counters, regardless of cuteness level. And even with that filter and the lid, like it still smelled bad. So I think I'm just going to, if I'm either clearing out the fridge and we have leftovers, or if it's like food leftovers from like chopping vegetables, like the carrot tops or, there it is, or whatever other ends that we wouldn't eat. I think I'm just gonna put that into a bowl and immediately take it outside. Say that with the best intentions. of doing something in the moment. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 panels. All right, y'all can't see this at all. And I need to see it more than you need to see it. Sorry. That is probably incredibly loud. All right. We're on number 3 of 10. Insert divider after 4th panel is added. Make sure the arrow on divider E face to the arrow on a plate B when insert divider E. All right. I feel like these ends are interchangeable, but maybe not. And it gives me the smallest effing picture on earth. All right. I see 0 difference in these sides. These all have arrows that are pointing out. And there are the arrows there. Make sure arrow on divider E face to arrow on plate B when insert divider E. Oh, I guess they're just saying line it up. Okie doke. So there is a slot going around the middle of these. I mean, like, how else would you put it in there, though? Like, I'm not certain it would fit any other way. I feel like more of these panels need to be together to force it into where it's supposed to be. All right, y'all are gonna see this a little bit because I need more light in this beast to see. All right. Arrows. Are the arrows only on one side? Yes, the arrows are only on one side. That, my friends, is what it means. The arrows are on this side, and in here, all the arrows are on this side. So that makes more sense, I guess. It's supposed to fit in there like that. That seems right. All right. But of course, every time I move it, it's going to come undone because it doesn't have all the panels on it. I think it's just wanting it to be tucked in there that way. Okay, let's see. Put the rest of the panels on, I'm guessing. 4, D1 and D. It looks like the rest of the panels are on. Okay. Doesn't tell you to do that, but I'm just gonna guess that's what they want us to do. Okay, the arrows are still on the right side. The correct side, they're actually on the left side if we're being technical about it. All right. All right, we're gonna try to do this the opposite way from how I was just doing it, I guess. You guys can kind of see inward. I can reach it like this. It's like not even going in. All right, gonna have to turn it around again, you guys, because that's absolutely not working. There it is. Max. Okay, bud. You disappeared on me for a minute. You disappeared on me for a minute, buddy. And I am stupidly kneeling on the garage floor instead of kneeling on my kneeling pad. Here we go. All right, regrouped. You know what sometimes I think about? There is a nice couple, Sarah and William, I think it's Gilkey is their last name. They have a YouTube channel. They commented on one of my videos one time. Very, very nice couple. They're doing like the main videos of theirs that I watch is their Whittle Down Wednesday. They're eating out of their pantry and their refrigerator. And what is it called? Gilkey's Limited Adventures, I think is what their YouTube channel is called. I'll put it down below. And they seem like such a nice couple and have left some really nice comments on some of my videos, which I have very much appreciated. And right now I was just thinking about William because he is legally blind, and I was actually wondering, since I'm doing this more by touch, like I'm putting the screws in by sight, obviously, but then on the inside I can't really see what I'm doing. So I'm doing it more by touch, and I was just thinking, I bet William could do this better than I could because he's probably way more in tune now with his sense of touch than with, you know, having someone who relies on their vision so much like I do. I bet he would already have this together by now. There it is. Anyway, they're a lovely couple. I think they live in Wisconsin. So it's also nice to hear people with Wisconsin accent because, like I said before, I grew up in Northern Illinois. So we would vacation in Wisconsin and in Michigan, and then we moved to Michigan, and then find out how much people on the west coast of Michigan, other than the money, dislike people from Illinois vacationing there because it makes everything really crowded. But when you live in a touristy town or a touristy area, you just kind of have to accept that. All right, and I can feel my hair getting crazy. But go check out their channel. I really do like their Whittle Down. I haven't had a chance to go through and watch a lot of their other content, but I really do enjoy their Whittle Down Wednesdays, where they go through like what they ate that week, the meals that she made, trying to pull mostly from their pantry and their freezer because they're trying to save up to go on a trip. And they are tracking how much below their normal grocery budget each week's grocery bill is, and that's the money that they're putting towards that trip. So I think it's such a cool concept and a cool way to motivate. I am just sucking at this. A cool way to motivate yourself to, you know, stick with a goal of setting aside some money and making sure that you're having the money for a trip up front, you know. So I don't think they've actually given the particulars of the trip, which makes sense not to be too particular about it because, you know, you don't want, just, you know, for privacy purposes. But I hope eventually they do say what they're going to do, at least some of the stuff that they're going to do on their trip. Be interested to know and see where they're going. I know a lot of people not from the Midwest are pretty unfamiliar with the Midwest, other than Chicago maybe. But the Midwest in the summer, if you're in the Great Lakes region of the Midwest, is actually quite beautiful. It does get hot there. There it goes. It does get hot there, and but it's, you know, way more temperate than it is down here. I feel like the hotness doesn't last for as long as it does in the South. It can get as hot up there, but it usually doesn't last for as long. And usually in like the lower peninsula of Michigan, it doesn't tend to get as hot just because it's a peninsula surrounded by water. All right, this is not the same. That's why that's not working. Okay. I forgot to pull out the nuts for the other ones, for the longer pieces for the stand. That's why I was on the struggle bus. There we go. So I guess I need to start looking up some composting YouTube videos. If you know of a good YouTuber that talks about composting, drop that down below too. That would be great. All right, I'm gonna take a quick water break and camera check. Whew. Okay, y'all, it's been 40 minutes since I started recording. Some of that's just dead space, but not too horribly shabby. Let's see. Just trying to see if I could find the other one like this in here so I could set it aside and not go through that frustration again. I don't see it quickly. There it goes. I wanted to check my camera because even though I'm not outside in the sun, the last time I filmed outside, it didn't seem terribly hot to me, but my phone definitely overheated a couple times, and I was a little bit peeved that I didn't get that footage. Here, I mean, it's not a big deal. This is incredibly repetitive, as was the other thing, to be honest. But yeah, the speed up will just go a little bit more smoother. Smoother? More smoothly? English is hard. That's the nubbin. I'm trying to put it on again. There's the screw, or the bolt. We're getting close, guys. Oh, but the divider is not inside on that one. Is it inside there? Okay. Okay. There we go. It's already scraped up. That's okay. It is meant to live outside. And I'm sure it will only be this color for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm sure this green will fade in the sun. Although green doesn't tend to fade as much as like the cooler colors fade less quickly in the sun than warmer colors do, it feels like. And I mean cool by like color chart cool, blues, greens. I just had the thought, I should have asked for my husband to do this, put this together for me as a birthday present. But you know what? I think he would be having a much harder time with it than I would because of the other things sticking down inside of here. If you have larger fingers, it's actually hard to navigate these nuts into the correct position. Hardy har. But truly, his hands are a lot bigger than mine are. I mean, my hands are pretty... I have long fingers, but my hands tend to be pretty small because I just have a small frame in general. But his hand is a whole extra finger wider than my hands are. Which is good for what he does. But not terribly useful for certain things. Like we were changing out light bulbs in a light fixture one time and he just could not get his fingers inside the shade of the light fixture. It was like a glass shade of a bathroom light fixture, and he just couldn't fit his fingers inside of it low enough to unscrew the light bulb, so I had to get in there with my tinier hands and do it. That's what they call teamwork. All right. Guys, last panel, and then it looks like we put the doors on. Uh-oh. Okay. So at the last... Did I do this wrong? The last panel, I have to kind of scooch this in here. And this needs to go in the divider. Is it in the divider over there? Yes. Okay. So this flap needs to fit, sorry, you can't see that at all. This flap, which I've just been leaving on top because the next flap goes over it, I actually have to tuck under this original flap that I did. So make certain we do that. Get in there. And let's check to make sure that, I guess this is why you don't put the doors on yet. The divider is inside the right place here. Did that get it? Yes. Okay. Yeah, we have a busy weekend. We have what do I do with the screwdriver? 2 birthday parties to do. One is for my daughter's friend tomorrow. And then we're going out to my parents' house, to their new house. They just moved. And my daughter is super excited, and I know my son is going to be super excited once he realizes it. Good Lord. Hard to keep this hair back. But they moved into a community that it's like a, where'd it go? That's the curve, there it is. A community that has a lot of amenities, including a pool with a slide going into the pool and like a splash pad and a playground, and my kids love the water. They don't know how to swim yet. My daughter has had very introductory swim lessons, so my husband and I always have to get in the water with them to make sure that they're safe. But they just absolutely adore being in the water. So my son's a little bit young for swim lessons still. Like I said, my daughter has had some swim lessons. I would like to start those up again, but they're kind of pricey. So maybe we can do that once we're not paying for daycare for her. And until then, like Dad or I will always be there when she's around water. Oh, that one went in well. That's exciting. That's the nubbin. There it is. When I say that's the nubbin, they have like little nubbins, I guess. Little pieces that stick out to go into extra drilled holes so that you can place it on there a little bit easier, which was actually really helpful. I appreciate that. but it also means I'm like feeling the wrong thing sometimes. And super happy that all these holes were drilled. Well, I shouldn't say that yet. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these holes left. So far, all the holes have been drilled in the correct spot, and it's fitting together quite well. I know sometimes when you get prefabricated furniture that you have to put together, that is not always the case. It looks like they gave me plenty of extra of these, so that's good in case for some reason one of them comes out and we lose it. Although I say that, it's like, what are the chances that I'm going to label these appropriately enough where I know that these are the extra bolts for the composter? Probably pretty slim. Probably pretty slim. Okay. 4. Put the doors back on. And it just looks like 5 is a picture of what it looks like with the doors on. There is a plus on this side. So I guess it goes like this. All right. And it's got their nice little nameplate here. Assuming they go that way so that you can grab onto that. Perfection. So it's a 2-sided one. That's fantastic. All right, on to number 6, the stand assembly. Was that a different nut, or was it just a defect? Maybe it's just a defective one, because I don't see another one. All right. 4 extra screws. Unless they didn't give me one of these. Do these fit on here? Let's see. No, they do not. Oh, there it is. There it is. I just wasn't seeing it. Wait. Damn. Why do these all look the same? All right. Okay. All right. Those 3 are the same. These are different here. I'm going to bring these up to you. That's what they look like on one side. And on the other side, they look very, very similar. But I found enough of these, so let's get to it. All right. Let's put the extras in here. All right. Let's see. What do I need to do? We have 2 or 3 different pieces. All right, got the L-shaped pieces. We have these are the BB. One of these is the CC, one of these is the DD. No clue which. And then this to attach it. Okay. So the B's don't have any of the little doohickeys. Presumably, we just put these together. I have to do it in the shape that makes the most sense to my brain. Okay, there we go. It's a lot harder to press in. How to do this without pinching the snot out of myself. That's going to be too curvy. Let me see if I have a flathead screwdriver or something like that. Well, that's a big flathead. There we go. Okay. Guys, there is like sweat from the back of my knees dripping onto my kneeling pad, which is super yucky of a feeling. Oops. Get in there. There it goes. Try not to lose those. That would be horrible. All right. There it goes. All right. Cool. Attach the caps. Talking about these little guys. I guess this is just like, I guess water and stuff doesn't get in here. For looks, for life. What was that ad? Oh, that's going to irritate me. I'm not going to be able to remember it. All right. Looks like this goes through the center here. Does it go through the center? Presumably. It just has arrows to the side here, and then it points up, so that's not terribly helpful. There it goes. Oh, after I made that comment, don't tell me this one last integral hole is not been drilled open enough. Let's try it this way. Okay, fantastic. There is a little bit of extra plastic there that needed to get through. Whew, that would have not been very nice. All right. Y'all, I feel like 80 years old trying to read this. Okay, so this bar goes on top of here. This should be a little hilarious. Let me see if I can do this by myself. I mean, luckily it's, you know, not heavy at all, but kind of lined up. See if we can get this one. All right. Not horrific. Okay, where did my nuts go? Oh no. All right. Let me just make sure this gets attached to the bottom. I don't know why I'm having both of those in my hands at the same time. That makes it infinitely harder. It's got to get tighter than that. But it's not. It simply isn't. I just can get close so they're not in the way. Well, not sure what to do about that. Those are definitely the right ones. I guess that amount of wiggle room doesn't really matter at the moment. Maybe I will have my husband look at that. All right. These gloves don't do too... Oops, sorry, you can't see anything, I'm sure. I feel like this is like a little fit check now. Let's see if you can see that now that that's raised up. Perfect. All right. So the screws on here, the nuts aren't going on as far as I would like, so I'll have my husband look at that. But it's enough to keep the drum on top. You can pull this out. And it's a two-sided one. I guess so you can have one that's like farther along and ready to go while you're still putting new stuff in the other side. That is my assumption. You know, it's kind of sexy if you like the John Deere style, not gonna lie. It rolls nicely. I'm assuming this is mostly gonna be facing down since this panel is heavier than the rest. So I don't know how great that is. Ooh, these are not totally popped in there. See if I can get that popped in there. There it goes. That looks smoother. All right. Like I was saying, sexy John Deere colors if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know, what'd that take? A little over an hour? But let me put this in its new home and we'll see how it looks out there. I'll be right back. All right, y'all, so this is where my trash bin and my recycle bin are, and the grill that needs to be cleaned that we haven't used in forever. I was gonna put it right there, but that stuff is there and I don't feel like moving it, and I know there's not enough room on the patio area, so I might leave it here. Come on, show your nice colorful doors. But that's like where our utility stuff is. I've been hesitant to do more things with this bed. Hello, Max. Because I don't want to dig in there and, you know, hit the utility lines. But it's right outside our side door to the garage, which is how we take our garbage out. So maybe there is not a horrible spot for it right now. I'm sure my husband will have opinions, but let's leave it here for now. Thanks for coming on this adventure with me. I'm really excited. If you have any composting tips, please put them down below. It is a two-sided composter, and as you can tell, it does roll. So join me on my composting adventure, especially if you want me to see it screw it up a few times. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things for me, please. I am trying to grow the channel, and I will see you the next time. Bye.